Some NPCs in video games have a certain reputation for annoying behavior. They may require babysitting, may keep popping up out of nowhere, or maybe they just never shut up. These are my bottom 10 annoying NPCs in video games. Let's start out with something relatively tame here. The Animal Crossing series is known for allowing the player to build up their town, or island, in the case of New Horizons, as they please. It is also known for the adorable anthropomorphic animal villagers that can be your neighbors. Unfortunately, for some of these villagers, many people simply can't stand certain ones. For some villagers, it is an aesthetic issue, but others simply have off-putting personalities. What makes these characters annoying is that you can't easily get rid of them until someone else is ready to move in, and even then the newcomer replaces one of your existing villagers at random, if you already have 10. The undesirable villager will eventually move out on their own, but this can take forever. Some players believe they can beat the villager into submission with their net, but this doesn't actually work. The best thing to do is simply ignore them. At number 2 is a character who honestly doesn't deserve it. Preston Garvey isn't a bad guy by any means, and I honestly think it would have been cool to further explore the history of the Minutemen with him. The issue with him is one that likely everyone knows at this point. They never end. Ever. Not without the use of mods, of course. You could clear out every dungeon in the Commonwealth 20 times over, and there will always be another settlement that needs your help. I did consider putting Marcy Long here, but she doesn't really clog up my Pip-Boy like this guy. At least he makes you his boss after doing the most basic of tasks for him, so that's kinda cool. It does make the menial Radiant quests even more annoying though, because you would think that someone else would be handling those tasks. Otherwise, what was the point of rebuilding the Minutemen? Anyway, Bethesda did Preston dirty. How can a title character be on a list like this?
What?
Well, there's a reason why they took Daxter out of the title for the second and third games. Jokes aside, Dax did have his own wildly successful PSP spinoff, but that said, he could be very grating in the main games. After falling into a pit of dark eco, both his attitude and his hygiene took a nosedive. He pissed a lot of people off, notably Torn and crew on multiple occasions, and had a habit of hitting on women who for the most part were not into it. He didn't even play a huge part in the story except for that one time he broke Jack out of prison, and that other time we found out that the precursors were actually Otzels. Still not convinced that one wasn't a joke, if I'm being honest. I did love these games, and Dax did make me laugh, but there's no denying I would have loved to have had the chance to knock him on his ass at certain points.
I'm gonna keep yapping!
The number 4 spot could technically go to any Pokemon that consistently shows up in a random encounter, but the main culprit in my experience was usually Zubat. I can still remember trying to get through Diglett Cave and not being able to take 5 steps without one of them attacking. They are at least easy enough to deal with if you want to fight them, and if you keep stocked on repels, you will be stopping considerably less often. Still though, they are a pain. If there's one good thing I can say about the newer Pokemon games, it's that they changed how random encounters work. It's so much better having Pokemon visible so that you can easily avoid them if you wish, or go after specific ones you want to find. Here's one that spans over a decade and a half, and a couple universes as well.
Biazura, Biazura, Biazura! I can't believe it!
Not a whole lot to say about this guy besides commenting on just how annoying he can be, but that's pretty much the whole point of the Adoring Fan. From way back in Oblivion to Skyrim in space, he just thinks you're super cool. In Oblivion, he becomes obsessed with you after you become the Grand Champion of the arena. Encountering or avoiding him is much simpler in Starfield, where you need only accept or reject the hero worshipped trait. Be warned, even if you kill him, he will come back to find you again. And in Starfield, he is essential until dismissed from your crew. At least he can function as a not entirely terrible follower, and gives you gifts sometimes. Heading into the bottom 5, we have a character infamous for her complete disregard for her own safety. Ashley Graham is encountered in Resident Evil 4, where the player has to escort her through the remainder of the game after she is rescued. We aren't going to spend too much time on this one because it isn't like she is a particularly bad character or anything. She actually helps out with some puzzles and things, but she also turns the remainder of the game into one long babysitting escort mission. Now let's take a look at BioWare's version of the Adoring Fan. First encountered in the original Mass Effect, Conrad Werner is Commander Shepard's biggest fan. I did almost swap this entry out for another character, Kalisa Bint Sina Al-Jalani, but Conrad is a pathological liar, so I think he is more insufferable by default. He shows up in each game in the trilogy with slightly different stories. Initially, he is Shepard's biggest fan, and the player is given a choice in how to deal with him. Regardless of the choice made, as long as he lives, he shows up in ME2, where he has decided to travel around fighting crime. He's not great at it, mainly because he has exactly 2 brain cells to rub together. Despite that, if he makes it to ME3, Shepard can find out that he has a PhD in xenoscience. Of course, he also reveals that he was lying about his wife's existence and had a tasteful shrine devoted to Shepard, so yeah, fun guy.
I've been looking for you.
Next is another unnamed NPC that simply will not leave you alone. This is another one where there really isn't too much to say. He just always has something for you. Shout in a city? Get some inheritance from a friendly NPC who died? Kill an old woman with a very ironic name? He has something for you, and he will find you. There is no escape.
Looks like that's it. Got to go.
Second to last, we have a character that would probably top a lot of other people's annoying NPCs list. CL4P-TP, also known as Claptrap, the name is ironic, is a general-purpose robotic nuisance manufactured by Hyperion. He shows up in every mainline Borderlands game and spin-offs as well, and he never shuts up in a single one of them. He can be somewhat avoided in some games once you get past the tutorial section, but he will be back with more quests later. He always has more for you to do, which he will then try to take credit for. He even makes cameos in other games, just in case you thought you were safe once you stopped playing Borderlands. Also, you can play as a Claptrap in Borderlands 2 for some reason, if you hate yourself or whatever.
He's dead.
Number 10, paradoxically the bottom of the list, is Captain Quark. Yes, it is spelled that way. This motherfucker. Here's the thing. In the simplest terms I can possibly use to describe this dude, he is a perfectly accurate representation of his demographics. He is somehow famous, successful, and absolutely adored by countless galactic citizens. I say somehow as if the reason eludes me, but really, it's just because he solves problems that he created and takes credit for actual hero work that was done by others like Ratchet and Clank. He is a sniveling coward that runs away from danger and cannot handle confrontation. That said, the actual most annoying thing about him is that he is endearing, or at least that he can be at times. No matter how many times Ratchet and Clank save him or have to clean up after him throughout the series, he comes back and demonstrates his ability to both grow as a person and learn to care more deeply about others. Essentially, he is human, or whatever the closest analog is in the Ratchet and Clank galaxies. May we all be blessed enough to be given the same grace by those closest to us. But they still should have left his ass in Pogon. Let me know if you have any differing opinions, or if I missed any infuriating NPCs. Just don't start a fight in my comments. Please like the video if you enjoyed, and join the family if you want to see more nerdy shit. Remember, love recklessly. Start with yourself.